Okay, so we're continuing on. Previous videos have discussed for the admin playlist, the dashboard, profile, volunteers, organizations, and roster editor. So now let's take a little look at the shift editor. So the first thing you'll notice is that the left-hand pane and right-hand pane. The left-hand pane will help you search and sort shifts, and the shift editor on the right-hand pane will allow you to enter details about a particular shift. Let's start first just by understanding find by date and find by shift group. The default is find by date, and here is the way to enter whatever that date menu is. Let's say we wanted to search between December 2nd and December 30th. Whatever shifts fall within that particular date range would show up here in this window, and we'll show you what that looks like in a little while. Find by shift group allows us to put a group of shifts together. Say if we had an event, maybe it's a weekend rib fest, or maybe it's a music festival over 2 or 3 weeks. I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll come back and visit it later. You can see when you're creating a shift group, we create an overall umbrella, and then we group all of the shifts into that. So let's say we called it Rib Fest. We would be able to set a planning start date. So for instance, if Rib Fest is in June, but we start planning in February or March, we might set that as the planning start date, and then the actual public start date, we would have separate dates in here. Think about instructions as the entire event. So these instructions would allow us to be able to set instructions once and have them to go out to all of the shifts under this particular umbrella called the RibFest event. It's the same thing with instructions. We would be able to create instructions once in a glossary term and attach that to every shift in the event. So what it allows us to do is to reduce the amount of work we need to do for each individual shift when then we put some information on the entire event. The same thing might apply to an address. Let's say we were in the same location for a Rib Fest over 2 or 3 days. We could set that here, and that would populate the shift, each of the different shifts that we send out. It's the same thing with appointments as well. We could put an entire roster of people on, and that would apply to each one of the shifts in that shift group. So we'll come back and talk about this later, but this is a little bit of information about what a shift group is. It's simply a grouping of shifts that we can include under an umbrella, and we can limit the amount of information we need to repeat every time. So let's go back now, and in the next video, we'll talk about finding by date and creating by date.